Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We now move on to the guest of honor address titled Food Safety Practices During and Post-COVID for All. And it's an absolute pleasure to welcome and introduce Dr. Shobhit Jain, Executive Director, Compliance Strategy, FSSAI, for the guest of honor address. Dr. Jain, over to you.
Thank you. My greetings to distinguished speakers and all the industry leaders. It's an honor to be here, to be able to share my thoughts. But before we go on, my heartfelt thanks to the industry for making it work during the worst phase that we ever had in this known history. So actually, I would really like to applaud the efforts of those in the audience, the industry leaders. Also convey my heartfelt thanks to the middle management, the lower workers, the foot soldiers, the workers, the delivery boys, even probably the security guards at the factories, at delivery points, all who have been working very silently and probably during the most traumatic phase of this pandemic. I would actually call them the silent corona warriors, and appreciate their in maintaining the supply chains during the pandemic. Heartfelt thanks to all. So this topic now, though is recent, is not new. So I think the whole business community, the regulators, the government, it is the topic of the day. So we really don't need to highlight much about what is happening, but we really need to think what next. So this corona actually gave us problems, threats, things that we were probably unprepared for as the normal standard operating procedures. The supply chain disruptions all throughout. It was not that one ingredient is not available. It is not that there is a supply chain only in the distribution side. It was just pan distribution that the supply chain disruptions were happening. The usual model that we place our functioning on cost and convenience really got disrupted. There was a lockdown, disruption of man movement. So how would the food even travel when the man taking it cannot travel? And there was uncertainty. The environment was very uncertain. And I think there is a golden lining to all of this. We survived that phase. And I think we did it very well. Not only well, very well. So, and compared to other industries, I think food had one advantage, that it is a primary need. So it has a very inelastic demand. The whole machinery, whether government or private or industry, geared up to service this sector. But if we see what's coming up for tomorrow, there are challenges still. But along with challenges comes the opportunities. Now, if we see the economic upturn that the newspapers keep talking about, is a story of last 1 month or max 2 months. But if I see my licensing and registration applications from April till August, FSSAI had a 20% more applications in this phase compared to last year. So if that is any barometer of activity in this sector, there was a lot of activity at that point of time. So now coming forward to what's going to happen tomorrow, if we really see, I see a lot of uptake in the e-commerce, which is already established. It was a tectonic shift upwards. I see a consolidation of this shift happening, and also a big opportunity in international trade. So this is what we see it as a business opportunity. But however, there are problems that we need to deal with. I think there are so many trends that we can see around, which as of today, we can't actually point fingers in a systemic manner. There are hardly any studies. They are all happening. My friends in the academic world say that these are very interesting times for them. And I'm sure a couple of months or years down the line, you will have classic textbook studies which would have been based on behavioral economics, on consumer behavior, which would aid us in understanding what. But as we stood today, there is hardly of this professional work, right? Because things are in movement today. But everyone in the house I know knows it by heart what is happening. Things in labor management, in the business leaders trying to weigh the price versus the product, trying to predict the consumer behavior or restructure their inventory management. All of these aspects each person is dealing with in the whole food ecosystem knows that these there are challenges on account of COVID in every aspect, and people are working to solve them. A couple of months down the line, we actually solved them through probably a knee-jerk reaction mode. We had to survive. We just had to do. But now, looking forward and knowing that COVID is not going immediately, there is talk of vaccine coming in. But by the time the vaccine comes in, has effect, is basically provided to a large part of the population that COVID does not become a threat anymore, is some time to go. So we really need to consolidate all our activities, all our functioning, all our understanding, so that whatever has been our reaction to survive becomes a consolidated approach for future. So coming forward now, food safety, actually, if you ask me, is based on hygiene besides other things. And hygiene is one of the center points of COVID safety protocols. So now what has happened is that there is a newfound emphasis on hygiene coming in, and it now pans throughout the value chain, right from the procurement to the consumption. So in future, I think we will have to work a lot towards this, and also fine tune our strategies to keep the cost less and the risk list throughout the value chain. So businesses will really need to work with both the back end and the forward linkages so that the disruptions do not move vertically within their chains. As a apex regulator, we at FSSAI have been very much engaged with the businesses. Many of you would have been engaged with us on one-to-one basis or through any of our stakeholder consultations and are aware of what we are doing. But just for the gathering, we did what we could have done, I think, in the shortest possible time. And we take pride in saying that we actually declared food as not the vehicle for COVID transmission much before even COVID was declared a pandemic. Then all those facilitation modes that were required for businesses to function in that lockdown period were extended, right from deferments of compliances to even an innovative method that people could actually start functioning, non-manufacturers, on the basis of mere application. They don't need to wait for the approvals. Import clearances were kept intact in time, and the guidance note for operating food service establishments in the COVID pandemic were issued not only once, they were revised to incorporate the developments so that the businesses can restart their functioning. Besides this, of course, I'm sure most of you are aware that FSSAI is heavily engaged in social media, counting the myths and disseminating information about COVID. So all these, while we had been doing and will continue to do further, what I really need to emphasize is in the future, coming few months, the soft hand holding definitely will lessen, because we, as the topic of today is, we need to learn to be working in the new normal. So food safety per se and also consumer safety would be a lot of focus for us, and I'm sure for the businesses together. So what we really need to work around for the future is to try and intermingle the newfound emphasis of hygiene due to COVID with the food safety protocols and make it a lasting effect, not as a temporary injunction in response to a pandemic, but make it a lasting effect for future. And these food safety related behaviors should be lasting, embedded in the protocols for the businesses forever. Then, just to let people know, we at FSSAI have upscaled our IT systems during this process. People know who have been working live with us that our old licensing system is no more FLRS. We have moved on to first course from 1st of November for the whole of country, and it's working fine. And also, many of the I would say services that we needed to render have come on board on the new system. Something like return filing now is now online. So most of the things that we need to do as regulators is now coming online with it. Then trainings we have taken in a very, very big way. And that too by e-mode. Training about COVID protocols for the food handlers. I think as we talk today, more than 1 lakh food handlers have been trained uniquely across the country, and that too free of charge. So I think that actually was a game changer during this whole period, and we intend to keep that tempo on and request all the industry to join our hands with us and take this thing forward. Besides that, the iconic initiative that we have about our training, FOSTAC, is back on the ground. Trainings are happening following the local protocols. There is also the e-mode, whichever way it suits the industry and the trainers. We are taking it forward. And as we speak today, 3.5 lakh food handlers have been trained in a very professional way. And I think this makes a very, very sound foundation for the future. And now, as I said, of intermingling COVID protocols with food safety protocols, now we have actually integrated our COVID training with the FOSTAC trainings also. Now, apart from that, for the restaurants, the food service establishments, we have a hygiene rating scheme where we rank or give a star rating to the establishment based on the hygiene, so that the consumer knows about the hygiene conditions at that place. And also our Eat Right initiatives, which also saw a small break because of the pandemic, we have relaunched. We are inviting partnership from businesses to take this thing forward. There is a Eat Right challenge on in the districts. Half of India is very actively participating over the next few months into that. And I would request all the businesses to actively take up the Eat Right India initiative for their establishments and for their even consumers. So going by the theme, I think navigating the new normal, what we, as I said, I see a renewed consolidated phase coming up where whatever we did over last few months as a knee-jerk reaction, I would say, needs to be consolidated into our standard protocols. Now, in future, consumer protection is a field that the government is quite emphasizing. And nothing, I think, is of more important in a field like food, where the interest of the consumer is always paramount. So I would request the gathering to be alive to all the changes that we are bringing in and the focus that we are bringing in, and also see how it can be the whole business model can be married around the consumer protection. So I think that's all from my side, and just one liner that we convey, that that anything that the businesses need from the regulator FSSAI to help or handhold or stand by it in times of distress, we are there. I am sure the House would have appreciated that even in the lockdown phase, I think we were all alive with the businesses, talking to them, communicating with them, connected with them, and delivering probably solutions even before there were formal pitches for it. So you can trust us to be always standing by you, and any issue, you're most welcome to come back to us. Thanks a lot.